legislation that you passed in your career?
Would you repeat that question? I can't hear it.
Repeat the question.
The question is because leadership capability, I think, is critical for whoever goes to Washington. I'd like to know what ordinance or piece of legislation or action these people have taken in their careers that they believe to be the most important.
Well, it's hard for me to limit that to just one piece because I'll tell you, over the course of my career, I have written, worked on, and passed a lot of different bills that have had a significant impact on Missourians. They include the Read to Be Ready bill, the Advantage Missouri bill that helped kids go to college, the National Guard scholarship bill, the Do Not Call list, the bill that created and the legislation that created the sex offender registry in the state, the work I did on methamphetamine laws, and all of the other things that loop into things. And I started to say at the beginning that the Hospital Association gave me the award for leadership in getting the CHIPS program enacted in this state initially, and I thought that was one of the most important things that we did in the 1990s. And unfortunately, the Republicans have hammered it away and taken the kids, so many kids, off of insurance that we try to get on. I will continue to work in a way that gets things done. That's been my history of not just proposing, but enacting and moving things forward for the people of this state. That's what I'll do in getting things done in Washington. So thank you all very much. I appreciate
It is about leadership. This is exactly what this question is about. This is what this election is about. It's about leadership. I have a short legislative career, but what has been significant about me is my ability to work across the aisle when it's time. When it's time to do something with someone who's even your opponent and do the right thing. I've had almost 10 pieces of legislation inserted into other bills without my name on them. For example, I had Utilacare, which, we have a looming energy crisis coming, and I could see it. I foresaw it and put Utilacare to work for Missouri people. Utilacare will make sure that people can stay in their homes warm this winter. We doubled it, expansion. But that's not all. It's not just about what I did. It's how I did it. It is how I was able to work across the aisle, and when I didn't have to take credit for something, I could get some things done. It's not about me. This is about you. This is about that I represent you. This is about that I will work across the aisle when I need to get something done, or I'll stand up against the governor, against health care cuts when the time is right. So picking one's battles, it's a very good skill that most others have. Y'all understand, don't you? Picking your battles, doing the right thing. That's what leadership is about, and having the political courage sometimes to stand up, say what's wrong, but when you've got to get something done, that you'll work across the aisle to do that. And that's what I have done. I had driver's ed legislation that everybody loved, but I couldn't get the speaker to do it. It meant teens' lives. So during the summer, I went around the legislature and went to the Department of Education and said, let's do this anyway. We now have online driver's education because I didn't give up.
I tell you, this is an interesting question because I currently serve as county commissioner, and I've been commissioner now for 14 years, and there's just 3 commissioners, so to get something passed, it's definitely a lot easier on the county level than it will be out in Washington, where there's over 400 Congress people. I think my most important piece of legislation or ordinance that we passed in the county is a new road that we built on the west side of Hannibal. It's a new outer belt road. It's the name of it is Veterans Road. We named it in honor of the veterans of our community and all across this nation for the service that they've done to our country. Veterans Road is a 3.5-mile outer belt on the west side of Hannibal in Marion County. And the purpose of building that road was for safety purposes and economic purposes. Highway 36 was being upgraded to a 4-lane where they had proposed putting the intersection in. Interchange was a dangerous area, and we were able to propose and pass this legislation to build a new road that created a new interchange, new area for economic opportunity in Marion County, and then also build a safe road around the western side of Hannibal, which was needed. And that leads into my plan for Congress. One of my strongest proposals that I have is a Rebuild America plan. You've probably heard a little bit about it, but it's a proposal to bring federal dollars back into our local communities to rebuild our infrastructure. I see the looming need for replacing our infrastructure. It's something we're starting to see a little bit of talk about. Some of the presidential candidates talked about it, some other candidates. But as you go out on our highways and roads and bridges, our water system, things like that, they're aging and the need is there to replace them. So my proposal, or my best legislation, is building a Veterans Road in Marion County and then proposing a Rebuild America plan.
Last night I spit out very quickly a list of some of the legislative accomplishments, and they are on your table. I think the bill that I'm most noted for is Bright Flight, which I did have, thank you, I did have to take my time, Sean, and I hate this 2-minute thing. I did have to cross party lines to get that passed. The minority leader, Dick Webster, one of the most ruthless Republicans, handled the bill for me in the Senate because I knew that's what it took to get Bright Flight passed. The best work I ever did was a Missouri College Guarantee, which made an entitlement for every kid, no matter how much money they had to go to college. I think some of the other bills, the middle class tax cuts that both Steve and I worked on together, the sales tax off food, Steve and I worked on that together. But then again, you have my list on your table. But I do want to say that the bill that Judy just mentioned, that was the Aquila bill, where a $2 billion utility company came in and built a utility plant without the permission of the Public Service Commission that he sat on, without the permission of local government. For me, she looks at it as an accomplishment. I would have loved to have been in the Senate one more day to kill that bill, because I don't think those billion-dollar utility companies should push the state legislature around. And I think that's what's happening in Congress right now, is these big corporations are pushing things around, and it's government for the corporation and not for the people, and somebody needs to take them on.